come on, yes! 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 Here I come, motherfucker!
How's it going? Welcome back, my beautiful sinners, to another great video here on The Savior Show. Today I have a very special video because we are going to check out Thelos. This is a new game coming out in September, and I'm one of the first people to have early access to it. Thelos is basically a 3D platformer similar to games like Mario, but it reminds me more of games like Starshot. If you remember that kind of game, it's a very old game that came out on the PC.
At least let me take Star short.
Star Short? That incompetent? What do you expect him to do?
The AAA gaming industry nowadays is just a dumpster fire and full of corporate scum that just sell you unfinished games and just try and release it to the public completely broken, and microtransactions and just using the same old stuff, the same old mechanics gameplay wise. I think it is very important to support these independent developers on Steam, because that's how we get good quality gaming back, is by having new and original developers who actually care about the artistry behind making video games. So I just wanted to support this one today, and he's supporting the channel, so thank you very much. And let's get on with the preview of Thelos, which is coming out in September, sometime this month. So yeah, go check it out. It will be linked in the description. Let's go. Mamma mia, Mario fell off the wagon. Before starting this video, that the game has been updated recently, and basically it's now got more improved graphics and it just looks a little bit more better with the color saturation and stuff like that. The skybox is also pretty amazing and just very fantastical and feels like you're in a magical universe. And yeah, I think it's pretty cool. The art style in general is nice because it's kind of abstract, and like I said, it kind of reminds me of the earlier games that are a bit more kind of basic in their graphics, and that's not a bad thing. Having kind of basic graphics doesn't mean it's a bad game. I kind of like that kind of more geometric style sometimes. Kind of reminds me of like PlayStation 2 and PlayStation 1 in a good way, just like Valheim in many ways. The developer was kind enough to reach out to me and basically wanted me to do a preview of this game before it releases around the 24th. Thelos is a platformer and adventure game, and basically your goal is to get to the top. And I know it looks impossible, and that's because it is pretty impossible. This game is very difficult, and here is the trailer. And the developer behind this game is obviously a lot better at it than I am. I tried my very best to get to the point he did in the trailer, because it looks like it gets a lot more crazy. But sadly, I was kind of stuck on the first area because I just couldn't get the hang of it. I do want to say that's not a bad thing, because a challenge in a video game is what we need nowadays, because everything has become so hand-holdy. So in Thelos, you have the power to attach these two crystals to certain objects. Not absolutely every object you can attach the crystals to. And basically, you can pull yourself towards these two different crystals, which basically gives you an option to kind of web sling. And basically, this makes you magnetic to these crystals. And you can kind of web sling if you're good enough. And it feels like Spider-Man, except with crystals. And it's a lot more involved compared to, say the Spider-Man game, because you actually have to attach these crystals yourself while you're in midair, which means you have to have super quick response time, and it is a little bit difficult and there is a learning curve, but that's not a bad thing. I just couldn't get good at it enough. I play games like Dark Souls, and I'm pretty good at that type of game, action game, and ones where you have to kind of think about the combat situation and reaction time, but I'm not so good about, but my spatial awareness is not so good, and I've never been that good at platformers. I even find Mario quite difficult, but there is a learning curve here, and I think that's pretty cool. And the fact that you can just swing around, you're gonna have to dodge certain attacks and creatures like dragons, and you have to pull off all of these crazy moves. And the thing that I like about it is it doesn't hold your hand. It kind of reminds me of that other game. In some ways, it does remind me of Getting Over It, because it doesn't hold your hand, like I said. The only thing that I do want to criticize it, some constructive criticism for the developer and for people who are interested in this and they should be aware of, is I think there does need to be some kind of basic tutorial. I'm not a fan of tutorials, but there does need to be something that just kind of teaches you the mechanics, or like a beginner area, and just explaining the controls a bit. But I do like the fact that it doesn't hold your hand, it doesn't have all of this, bloated, modern day gaming kind of development in it, where it's, basically treats the player like an idiot, and, there's a massive waypoint where you have to go. It expects you to figure it out yourself, which I like. And the fact is, it can be very punishing, because if you do fall, just like you would in getting over it, you pretty much will lose your progress, because you have to start all the way from the bottom, if you don't save it, that is. I should also say that this game is developed by one person, so that is very impressive, and you should definitely go support this game and download it. Definitely go and support this game and wishlist it, because this is one person, and if they can create something like this, then I'm very excited to see what they make in the future. And as they add updates to this game, which they've told me that they will, it's gonna be very exciting to see what happens with it in the future. But like I said, if you want a challenge and something kind of abstract and out there with kind of retro style graphics, which I like, which kind of reminds me, like I said, of the PS2 genre and PS1 days, it just has a nice vibe to it. And if you can master the difficulty, you will get a nice flow going. I did have moments where I connected the crystals perfectly and I landed a sweet jump, and it did make me feel quite accomplished. So I do like the gameplay loop here, and it is very simple in its pure design. This interesting idea of web slinging and being kind of a magnet to these crystals, I just think, we haven't seen anything like that, where you truly have to focus and basically be Spider-Man, but with crystal powers instead. So I think that's quite cool. Another gameplay mechanic that I should also mention is, as you can see at the bottom, you have this energy bar, and basically when you're connecting the crystals, this bar will drain, and this adds even more pressure, because if you're in mid-air and you're trying to land on a platform and you're trying to do this jump perfectly and your bar depletes, then your character will pass out, and basically you can't do anything after that, and you're just gonna collapse. As you can see here, my energy bar depleted and I have to spam the space bar, and it's not an easy spamming to get your energy back up. So that's an added kind of time pressure to the platforming, which makes this game pretty intense. So my final thoughts on Thelos and why I think this is the most strange and unique game that I've played in a while, and from an independent and indie developer, I think it's always great to try out new ideas, and this is one of them. So my final thoughts on Thelos is, this is a good independent game, and he's only asking, I think, around $5, $6, something like that, so it's not gonna be too expensive. And for something, and if you like platforming games and you like something with a challenge and you like something a little bit more abstract and reminds you of these more kind of retro games, something that doesn't hold your hand, then yeah, I would recommend this, because this is an interesting game. Also, there is a good sense of exploration as you get further to the top. Yeah, and it runs super well, so I think this is quite a unique and interesting game, and there aren't many games like this. This is definitely the strangest game I've ever played, the strangest game ever, but in a good way, okay? So if you want to check it out, I highly recommend that you do. The only negatives I can really say is there needs to be some kind of tutorial at the start. There should be some kind of explanation on the controls, and I've only noticed one bug so far in the whole time playing it, so that's pretty good. And that's just sometimes you would get stuck on the water surface, and you would just have to load your previous save game. But that's the only thing, because these people are the ones who can save the industry. And yeah, this is just an interesting idea. And that's my preview of Thelos. Like I said, I'm the first one to preview it and first one to get my hands on it, so I'm pretty honored, and you should definitely go check out this game, and hopefully you'll be much better at it than I am. And I'll see you in the next video, my sinners. I hope you have a great day, and you check out my music on Spotify, and subscribe if you are new. That would mean a great deal to me. I'll leave a link to this game in the description, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace out.